So, do you ever listen to an old song and all of a sudden you just start getting memories of when you were a kid or just the older times when life was really good, the silly, fun times that you had. And then you compare that to reality or what's happening currently, and you're like, damn, my life sucks. You're like, damn, my life back then was so much better. Well, that's nostalgia, my friend. And I'm going to tell you why nostalgia even happens, why we even have it, and how to use it as motivation. So let's get into it. Okay, so to start off, like, why do we even get nostalgia? Like, why does it happen? Well, obviously, most people get nostalgia because they think back of a time when life was better or a time when they had fun, right? But don't we technically have fun all the time? So what does that even mean to think back to an older time? Well, my friend, I'm going to tell you why. It's because society now is slavery. Not by definition, but it's a form of obedience. You see, ever since we're able to talk to like pretty much our whole life, we're forced to follow a system without ever rebelling. I mean, I'm 19 years old, right? I'm a freshman in college, and literally from elementary school to now, me still being in school, every single day I had to stress about the letters, which are my grades, right? Oh, am I getting A's? Am I getting B's? Every day I'm stressing about that. Every day, I'm spending all this time studying for stupid tests, all this time doing these dumb assignments that I don't care and I just don't even find any value in. For what? Just for the letter A on a transcript, right? It's ridiculous. I honestly think, and I think most people can agree, it's stupid. you know, we we spend all this time, energy, stress over these dumb assignments that have little to no benefit, depending on who you ask. But it doesn't stop there with school. After school, guess what? We have to now work a job. And for the vast majority of people, they work jobs that they don't want to work, right? They end up working an office job and they just follow the exact same step. This time it's not for a letter grade, but it's to please your boss or to get a paycheck, right? You have to follow these rules, do what the boss wants, spend hours and hours working, come home stressed and exhausted. And for those who don't know, the more stress you have, there have actually been studies showing more stress actually lowers your lifespan. So it's kind of killing us. And the funniest thing is, this is just normalized in society, right? If you bring up, oh yeah, I kind of hate school or college is stupid, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, people instantly bash you. They're like, oh, you're crazy. What are you talking about? What are you gonna do instead? Oh, you're just being foolish. But the reality is, no, you're not. I mean, it's honestly, it's the truth. I mean, really think about it. For college, for example, because that's what I'm in right now, I'm spending all this time, energy, hundreds of thousands of dollars for what? Like, what do I get out of it? I get stress, I get nonstop work, and then at the end of it, I get a piece of paper that says, congrats, you finished college. And what do I do with that piece of paper? Well, now I have to risk actually getting a job. Because first off, you're not even guaranteed a job. But then now I have to risk getting a job, getting a job that I don't even probably like, and follow again the same exact steps. Stress, work, yada yada, money, bills, all this stupidness, right? And like I said, everyone goes through this type of phase. Maybe you realize it, maybe you don't realize it, maybe you ignore it. Regardless, we all kind of go through this little stress, obedience, conformity cycle. And that's why we have nostalgia. Because nostalgia, we think back to times when we weren't slaves, when we weren't obedient, when we had more freedom. Maybe in the time we were still slaves, but we had more freedom, more fun to our lives, right? So me, for example, a lot of times I think back to my 5th grade year of elementary school, right? That's a super long time ago. But sometimes when I have nostalgia, that's when I think back to 5th grade. What? And you may be wondering why 5th grade. Well, in 5th grade, my life was great, or at least compared to now. My life was more free. As a little kid, obviously, nothing mattered. You didn't have to worry about money, bills. You didn't have to worry about what people were thinking about you. You didn't have to worry about how you looked, how you dressed. You didn't have to worry about grades, stupid teachers. Like none of it mattered. All that mattered was you just had fun with your friends as a little kid. That's it. And that was probably the most freedom everyone has in their life, being a little kid. Because it's true, that's where you have the most freedom in your life. But as you grow older, you kind of lose that freedom, right? You start getting into harder levels of schooling, middle school, high school, college. Everything starts mattering more. Your grades start mattering more. Oh, are you taking enough AP classes? Oh, do you have a 4.0 GPA? Right? Money starts mattering more. All these things start to pile up on top of you, and it's just overwhelming to the point where you kind of lose that entire childhood freedom. And now you're stuck in the slave cycle, and it's kind of hard to break free. So what do? You reminisce to those old times. Not necessarily because they were better times. I mean, they were, but not just because of that, but because you were more free. You had more freedom, right? Another example is if maybe you're listening to music, right? You can be listening to music and it instantly brings you back to an older time, a time that was better. Again, maybe in the time you were still a slave or you were still obedient, but you felt more free. And one big example, you're going to hear this, is college. Oh man, if you couldn't tell by now, I'm not a big fan of college. But what do I mean by college? Well, if you ask other people in college, maybe even yourself, you may think, yeah, college is kind of fun. College has some good parts, but a good chunk of college is stress, workload, all this BS, right? A lot of people say that about college. In fact, I had a friend who said that college was kind of like prison, where there were fun parts of it, but there were also really annoying, hard, stressful parts of it, right? And when you have parents who tell you, "Oh, college was the best 4 years of my life," it really makes you think a lot about college. But let me really explain what's going on. College itself is not fun. College itself is not good. The only good part of college is the social freedom part of it, right? Like if you ask your parents who are like, "Oh, college was so great for me," and you ask them, "What's your favorite part about college?" I guarantee no parent, no adult on this planet will say, "My favorite part of college, probably all the tests and homework assignments I had to do." No adult is saying that's their favorite part of college. Not a single one is saying that, because it's not. No person likes to do this stupid work, test, assignment stuff for college. The good parts of college are the parts where you're hanging out with friends, going to these parties if you're a party goer. I'm not, but if you are a party goer, right? Going to parties, getting food with your friends at like 2 a.m, not having to worry about parents or adults telling you what to do. That's the fun part of college, the freedom part of college, because it's your one little sliver of freedom, right? When you're a little kid, you're free. Then after that, you're slave. You get to college, you have that little sliver of freedom. And that's why people love college so much. So when your parents or adults have nostalgia about college, they're not having nostalgia about the real, actual college life, going to classes at 8 a.m, that stuff. No, they're thinking about the fun, good parts, the free parts of college. That's why we have nostalgia. Because we miss the free parts of our lives. Because humans, even from like the dawn of time, they weren't meant for this type of life, right? No human from back in the day would stress about grades or test assignments or whether or not they can get a job after spending $300,000 on college. No, our ancestors never thought like that. They thought, okay, let me go hunt, let me go eat, let me go sleep. That was their life. They were stress-free for the most part, right? Look at us now. Look at us now. Like I said, almost every single aspect of our life is just conformity. We have to follow society's rules. We have to follow what other people say. We have to be obedient to all these other people. We have to be slaves, right? And I think we can all agree it's a pain in the ass. I mean, really think about it. I'm 19, like I said, and whether you're 18, 17, around my age, from literally you're literally spending those entire years of your life in school being obedient, learning obedience. as a kid, your parents were like, oh, you have to eat your vegetables. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to, I don't know, go to sleep at 7 p.m., right? You're already getting taught obedience. Then you go to middle school, high school, then you're really taught obedience. Oh, you have to do these assignments that you don't want to do. You have to study hard and stress yourself to get a letter on a test. Ooh, but if you don't get that good letter on a test, everyone's going to mock you and ridicule you for being an idiot or being lazy. So it creates a toxic relationship that you need to keep trying hard, even if you don't want to. Well, guess what? The fun doesn't stop there. When you get to college, you have to spend 4 years of your life grinding, working, paying a bunch of money. And guess what? After all of that, you have to do the exact same thing, but for a job now. You have to grind and work and slave yourself. I mean, does that seem like such a good life? No, it's not a life you want to live. No one wants to live a life like that. And you're probably going to hear, oh, well, just toughen up. Oh, that's just life. Oh, just, be an adult, dude. Stop acting like a child. These are all ways to cope. Because again, deep down, I mean, some people, I can't speak for everyone, but deep down, a majority of people probably think the same way as I do. They may not realize it, but they probably think similarly. But again, society, through parents, adults, just society in general, they normalize all this stuff, all this stress, this whole life. So you never really think it's that bad. I mean, really think about it. In high school, I took, what was the class? I forgot. Oh yeah, I took an AP art history class. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't care at all about art history. The only reason I took that class is because it was an AP class. So it looked good for college. But like, think about it. I'm making myself take a class that I don't want to do. I'm making myself stress about all the assignments and tests in that class, once again, that I don't want to do for what? Just to look good on the transcript, just to look good for colleges. So I'm forcing myself to live a life that I don't want to do or live just because I have to, right? Because that's how society is. And again, that's why we get nostalgia, because we think about better times, and those better times are when we were more free. I mean, genuinely think about it. Anytime you have a trigger of nostalgia, whether it be a song or just anytime you have nostalgia, when you think about that past time, I almost guarantee 99% of people that past time is a time when they were more free, when they weren't a slave to the system, right? When they weren't so obedient, right? And I brought up my 5th grade nostalgia. Another one I have is my junior year of high school. And again, in junior year of high school, I was still obedient, still a slave. But compared to now, I was way more free back then, which is why I reminisce on those times, because I was free, because life was better, because I didn't have to fully force myself to just conform to this stupid system. And it just sucks, because unfortunately there's not much you can do to really like deviate from the system. You're kind of forced, because society again has just so normalized it and made it such a big aspect of our lives that this is kind of the only thing you can do, for the most part, of course. And if you do try and deviate and try and follow a different path, guess what? You get ridiculed, you get bullied, you get made fun of, which it's just all part of the system. You kind of have no choice. So it sucks. But I do want to end on a good note here, if you made it this far. Even though we are technically slaves, even though we do have nostalgia to think about times when we were free, that's a good thing, because it shows that we still crave freedom. When we have nostalgia, that shows we crave still having that freedom, still living that good life, meaning you can still live a good life. You can still do things to make life feel better. For me, right, of course, I'm still trapped in this society, still obedient to the society, but I still do things to try and limit how much of a slave I feel. One big thing I do is I hit the gym, right? I love working out. That's a big thing I do to help distract my mind. Other things, I may listen to music. I might cook foods I really enjoy cooking and making and eating, right? My point is, if you have nostalgia, you're thinking back to a time when you were free. On top of that, though, it shows that you crave freedom. and that you can still be free to an extent. So what I want you to do is I want you to, when you have your next nostalgia attack, think, how much more free was I back then? And really think, really think, how much more free were you? And after that, I need you to find some things that really motivate you or really grant you that freedom, a passion, a hobby, whatever it be, and use that as motivation, use that as dedication to keep fighting and keep going and to find anything else to be free. And for me, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to do the whole college path. I don't want to do any of it. I think it's ridiculous. And that's why I'm trying to do other paths. And me making a video like this, me going to the gym, me doing these things that help make me have that freedom, those are all little boosts forward for me trying to achieve my goal. Well, yeah. So if you watch, thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts were. Peace out.